Let's get this going. Jump right in.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
How's everybody today?
Great.
All right, well, welcome to the February meeting of the Economic Development Authority of the City of Portsmouth. We have some new faces today. We're really excited to get started and be about the business of our wonderful city that continues to grow and develop wonderfully. So, real quickly, I'd like to introduce our newest commissioners, Kathy Revel and Don Scott. If you would just take a moment to, Kathy, say hello to everybody. And
Good morning. I'm happy to be here. My name is Kathy Revel. I'm a lifelong resident of Portsmouth and a business owner, and a part owner in a small shop, Little Shops on High. I have a background in nursing, but I retired from that and decided to jump into the business world. I ran unsuccessfully for city council last year, but that doesn't mean that my interest in the city has diminished any, so I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
well, we'll consider that our success then. How about that? And Don, if you
Good morning. My name is Don Scott. I'm a local attorney here, but my background is in similar to economic development, some workforce development, government contracting, defense contracting. I'm a former naval officer. I've been in Portsmouth 11 years. Have a daughter and wife here. Live over in Churchland. Love it. Happy to be here. And thanks for having me.
Well, we have you sitting in the right spot next to another contracting officer over there, so.
Yeah, he'll keep me in line.
All right, well, Ms. Butler, if you'd like to do roll call?
Sure. Thank
School
you.
finance.
Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Ms. Jiggets is ill. She has the flu that's going around. She emailed the chairman late last night, so she will not be with us. Mr. Kelly?
Present.
Ms. Revel?
Here.
Mr. Scott?
Here.
Mr. Thomason?
Here.
Mr. Thompson?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Awesome. And just as a reminder, if you did not get the notification, we are now being video recorded, not just by Mark, but by the city. So that's going to be part of an ongoing process that'll be moving forward, and everybody will have transparency and be able to see what's going on in our meeting. So just if you have any concerns or hesitations about that, at least you know that you're being videotaped. So.
And they will be posted not only on the city's YouTube page, but there will be a link on the EDA page within the Economic Development Department's website to those as well.
So, we have, everybody has received their packages, correct? All right, and everybody's had a chance to review the documents, so we take a look at the minutes. The chair would accept the motion to approve those, or any discussion that we need for those?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
regarding the minutes,
Yes.
if we could just make one minor adjustment to the minutes, page 2, regarding the draft copy of the grounds maintenance RFP. It was relayed to the group that it was going to be a bid and not a request for proposals. I know it's a minor change, but probably needs to be adjusted because there's a big difference in that process.
Okay. So is that a motion to approve with the change?
Motion to approve with that change, yes, sir.
Okay.
Second.
And you have a second from Mr. Kelly? Any further discussion? Awesome.
Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbs is absent. Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Revel? Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
And it's approved
All
with the
right.
adjustment.
Fantastic. So we'll have that correction made. Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Hines. And Alice, would you like to take us through the financials?
Sure.
Thank you.
Debbie McLeod is no longer with the city, so I'll be doing the financials for the time being. The January 31st financials, the first page, and I'm going to go through this a little bit differently just because of the new commissioners. These are unaudited financial statements, so each month we get, we do the best that we can to make a fair and presentation of our financial statements. However, there might be adjustments during the year. The timing might be off of a payment or whatnot. We don't do accruals or anything. We just present it as is and make it as meaningful as possible so that we can keep up with what's going on with the EDA Commission. So I'm just going to go through. The first one is the statement of net position, which is similar to a balance sheet in a corporate world. We have $13,771,003.03 in our assets and our liabilities. The next page is our statement of revenue, expenses, and changes in net position, which is similar to an income statement in a corporate world. And The month of January, we had expenses of $11,843 for operating, we had $11,843 operating loss, and then $145 investment income, for a total change in net position of $11,698. So our year-to-date change in net position is $403,927 negative, and so our net position at the end of the period is $13,771,000. The next statement is a development property for resale, and I wanted to take a look at this. I think the acquisition and the total asset value, monthly expenses, I just wanted to double check this, so I asked the commissioners to just bear with me that I know that the acquisition cost and the total asset value is $9.5 million. Our monthly expenses are about $11,502 for the month of January. Year-to-date, which starts July 1st, is $303. Our cumulative prior is $1.3 million. Our total investment column, I want to take a look at that. I just want to make sure that that's a proper column there. Schedule B is a development property activities report, and on this we have our monthly expenses. These monthly expenses go up and down. If you see, we have a budget, and then the second column is monthly expenses of $11,502. Those monthly expenses go up and down depending on the timing of bills. Also, the monthly bill for utilities is every other month, so the monthly bill can go higher on certain months. So take a look at the exhibit. The next exhibit is the cash and temporary investments. We have in our bank $2 million of cash. $1 million of that is in an escrow account. And then this is a nice detail of all of the program budget for our facade grants and our security and our interior build-out grants. So you have available to still be awarded in 2017, $264,430. We've already approved 135 grants, and we've paid out 71,000 grants. And then the last page on the financial statements is our pooled cash. Our beginning pooled cash was $119. The ending is $35,862 owed to the city. And pooled cash, because we are part of the city financial statements, we go in and out where the city pays or the EDA is owed money back and forth. So we every quarter true up, if you will. And so sometimes the EDA owes the city, sometimes the city owes the EDA, and that's what the pooled cash is. And then it has all the development property expenses for the month. Any questions?
Just one comment. Ms. Kelly, I believe when you were asking about that total investment column, it looks like there might be a formula problem. It looks like they're deducting the cumulative prior to the year-to-date expenses. That's why you're getting
Right, and that's why I noticed that when as I was looking at this morning.
I would just bring out one other thing for the newer commissioners as well. If you look at the balance sheet, you'll notice that there's cash held in escrow under roughly about $1 million or so. That's not included in the cash we have on hand. That's separate, held in escrow outside of our accounts. So if there's any way possible, maybe in the future, just putting a little notation next to that. That's,
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Kelly? Is there a motion?
a motion to approve.
A second.
All right, Mr. Kelly and Mr. Thompson.
All right. Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Revel?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Motion carries, and the financials are accepted as presented.
Awesome, great. And I did want to back up just a moment. I neglected to inform the rest of the commissioners with Ms. Kelly letting us know that Ms. McLeod is no longer with us. Ms. France is no longer with us as well, too. Staff will be working on how they will be moving forward and how the staff will be positioned, and let us know once we have an update on that. So just wanted to make sure everybody knew that she was no longer with us. So, all right, now we move into, yes, no old business today. So I think we move into new business. Mr. Hines, did you have some new business for us today?
Yes, I would actually like to, with the departure of Mr. Bailey, our treasurer, I'd like to put up for the treasurer position Mr. Aaron Kelly.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
believe he will do an excellent job, and he has a lot of institutional knowledge that will be beneficial to us.
Definitely does that. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
All righty. Any discussion? Any questions?
Just one thing, I'd just like the minutes to reflect the names of the officers so we can get the signature cards corrected.
I've already alerted the bank that we will be notifying them, and the signature cards are the chair, the treasurer, and myself, and all transactions require 2 signatures. No one of us can do any business without another one.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
All right, Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. Revel,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Thomason,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries, and Mr. Kelly has been appointed treasurer.
Awesome. Glad to fill that. Thank you, Mr. Kelly, and not unfamiliar to that role and not unfamiliar to finances, so we thank you so much for doing that. I know you've served quite a bit with the Economic Development Authority, and we appreciate your continued service there. And I don't know if everybody saw it or not, but we're going to have some joint meetings coming up with City Council. We're really excited about that. Some of you that were here a little bit longer know that we actually had joint work sessions every quarter at one time with City Council and the other departments within the city, especially the ones that were closely more requested to us with PRHA and the PPSC and others that were really nice done at Badawi. So we'll be doing those. At this time, though, we'll be doing them as individual. So we will not be doing them joint with the others. That is correct, right? So it'll be just us and the City Council. So we have 2 of those coming up, which is April 24th, which is a Monday, and September 25th, which is a Monday. Both those meetings will be held at 5 p.m. So please try to do everything you can to out in advance to clear your calendar so we can have those. Those are really good meetings, and I haven't been to one obviously with just City Council, but I look forward to that. I think we'll have some really good, healthy dialogue. Although we're an independent agency in that regard, we do like to work closely with City Council and make sure that we're all harmonious and all targeted to take the city forward and all have the same goals so we get them done and not fight each other as we make towards that. So please keep your calendars open for that. And Ms. Butler's going to tell us a little bit about the upcoming VITA in May.
Yes, thank you very much. This is an opportunity for commissioners to receive training. It is a class and a course that is geared for volunteers, and many of the commissioners have taken it. We do have and budget in the EDA for all commissioners to take it. I do believe, in addition to our 2 new commissioners, Mr. Scott and Ms. Revel, that Mr. Hines is eligible to take it if he would like, and so is Ms. Jiggets. Mr. Kelly has taken not only this class, but he has taken some professional training that those of us who work in economic development every day take, and so has Mr. Thomason. He has taken both this class and a couple of classes that are geared for the professionals, and Mr. Thompson and the chair has also taken this, but I would strongly encourage those of you who have not taken it to give consideration, and I'll defer to your fellow commissioners who can comment as to whether or not they feel it's worthwhile and beneficial.
Well, I know that when I joined, Mr. Kelly expressed the importance of attending as much of the training as you can so that you serve better, but additionally, any training helps you grow. It was fortunate that Mr. Thompson and I were at the training together, and it was really nice coming in at the, right about the end of my first year, I think is when I went, and I gained a lot from it. Really helped me understand what our role is, what our function is, and being there with other commissioners from other cities throughout the area helped to see some of the things that they were doing, and for myself personally really helped me understand that as much as we want to do everything, we can't, and we have to be very but to try to be very narrow in our focus and work towards a plan. We've put together a strategic plan several times now, so that's where it's been beneficial to me. I know Mr. Thompson, Mr. Kelly, I know you're a strong advocate for this type of training.
I think that it's important for the newer commissioners to understand the boundaries, coming from specific backgrounds. Oftentimes it gets infused in our decision-making. I found myself sort of reaching outside of the parameters and having to be sort of wielded in. So to avoid those types of things, this type of training gives you a general overview of the activities and the types of processes that take place in our city and particularly on this board. It's great training, I think.
I think both of you summed it up pretty well. I would encourage the newer commissioners to do it together. You get a chance to know each other as well. And get a chance to talk to some folks like the chairman mentioned. Talk to some folks from other localities, see what they're doing. You can always bring stuff back. Nobody has a capital lock on ideas, so Portsmouth likes ideas, so.
Yes.
And just as a point, all travel is on you to organize and arrange, and then submit reimbursement to the EDA after the fact. So we sent, I believe the link was in the information that was sent out, so you can go online to facilitate that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson.
I do plan on attending this time around, since it is actually my first full term. If we can, just for the benefit of the new commissioners, send out, if we haven't already, a copy of the travel policy.
Sure.
That we just worked through in committee, that would be great.
Yeah.
Will do.
So yeah, we just revised the travel policy and reimbursement. on that.
Created,
Yeah.
in fact.
Davita's a 2-day
Yeah.
in-state, so travel's not normally more than 3 or 4 hours most of the time.
I don't know.
Just want to make sure that everybody's on that comes.
It's in the link we sent to everybody. But it's always in the common law.
Yeah.
It's in Charlottesville
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah, so not,
And registration deadline's April 15th. Again, all that's in the link that was sent out to all the commissioners.
all right, well, thank you. So at this time, we are ready to go into closed meeting, correct?
Correct.
All right, Mr. Thompson, would you like to make a motion on that, sir?
Whereas the Virginia Freedom of Information Act provides the Board of Commissioners they hold closed meetings for certain purposes set forth in paragraph 22-3711A of the Code of Virginia in 1950 as amended. And whereas the board desires to enter into closed meeting for purposes set forth below, and whereas in compliance with those requirements of code and topic to be discussed set forth below, and the subparagraph of paragraph 2.2-3711A authorizing discussion of topics in closed session are set forth in parentheses after each topic. Therefore, be it resolved that in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act and above referenced section of code, the board commissioners shall meet in closed meeting on February 21st, 2017 for purposes of discussing disposition of public held real property where discussed in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy for the public body. 1500 block of High Street and 3336 Victory Boulevard. The consultation with legal counsel pertaining to actual or probable litigation or such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiation or litigating posture of the public body. The Commons at Portsmouth Center, 7, adopted this 21st day of February 2017.
Just a second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Revel? Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
We are now in closed session. All those were commissioners. Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Revel?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
You are back in open session.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just point of quick privilege, if I may, regarding, if we can go back to the VITA discussion. Commissioner Scott over here, I told you he was going to keep me in line. He pointed out that there may be some special group rates if there's 2 or more, instead of us individually registering. Is that something that we could look at if Ms. Revel and Mr. Scott are going to join me?
We can look at that, but we'll need to coordinate how to But we can call in advance and see if we can't make that so that when you all call, they give you the group rate. We have no means or credit card to pay for your registration, so we can
Understandable.
initiate the group rate and tell them 3 of you all will be coming and go from there, yes, and then
Is
notify you all.
that a commitment to you for the 3
Yeah,
of you?
I'm absolutely going.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Is it possible for one person to pay and the other two just reimburse?
That's amongst the 3 of you.
We could discuss that and
Okay.
figure it out.
But we'll initiate the call to say that we have 3 commissioners coming from our commission, and please offer them when they contact to register a group rate.
Okay, I just want to save the
And we'll
commission
let
some
you
money
know
if we can.
once we've made that contact, so give us a day or so before you call.
Sounds good.
Mr. Kelly?
Thank you.
Yes, I hope all 3 of you do, in fact, go and make it. One thing we need to revisit, I know Ms. Jiggins isn't here, but and I may be wrong on this, but I think somewhere in that subcommittee, they limited 2 people per year per training, so we would have to make an exception to that.
I'll look and see. I'm not, but only 2 people could go to VITA per year?
It's in
think
the back
it's-
of my mind, there was a subcommittee that handled that, and I remember that coming out.
I believe it's no commissioner can take more than 2 training
And
times
that
per
may be
year.
it too.
Yeah.
It may be it too. I would just recommend taking a look at it.
I think that's it, so that we
Right.
could make sure that everybody has an opportunity. I don't think it was that only 2 can train per year. I think it was no individual can have more than 2 training opportunities in order to, since there's a limited budget.
I believe we actually exempted VITA as well
That's
from
true.
that.
That's
you may
exactly
have.
right.
I think we did exempt
wanted to
VITA.
make sure.
We'll circulate the travel policy that you all created to everybody, as well as the link, and then we will let those who do intend to go know once we have provided or obtained a authorization for a group rate.
Sounds good.
You know, just do that as one. So send the group rate out, send that all at one time. Once you get that, you can send it's all connected to the same email, make it easy
Yeah.
for everyone there, so.
Sounds great.
Will do.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Jiggis may want to attend as well, so I don't know. We have confirmed that this does not interfere with any future meetings?
No, it does conflict with an EDA meeting.
Well, that- Yeah, so then we could
It
end up.
routinely does, so we will probably have to reschedule.
Okay.
The May
Look at that too then.
meeting.
Okay.
It's in
All right,
conflict
with no further business, then we are closed. Thank everyone for coming out, and thank you to our new commissioners for joining us.
Steal you for a few minutes.